you love madness and you love goofballs, and you love goofballs talking about madness, you got Sam and Jack on the Locker Room podcast here. We got March Madness in full swing. And if you thought madness was, the theme of March, you are correct. We had some of the greatest upsets, if not the greatest upset in March Madness history, happen with Fairleigh Dickinson upsetting Purdue in the first round. Jersey. Yeah, what's with you Jersey guys? How come how come only in the summer and now March Madness you guys are like the only time you guys are relevant? What's that about?
Well, we're always relevant, so that's just categorically not true what you just said. But
you guys are like Jersey Shore in the summer.
We don't. Well, we're more relevant than Connecticut. I hate to be the one to tell you, Connecticut is a crap state, and y'all don't even have a professional team. Neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. We're scrappy, man. St. Peter's, Fairleigh Dickinson. We're just scrappy. We don't care who you line us up in front of. We're always going to think we can beat them and we can take them. That's just how the culture in Jersey is, and I'm not surprised. Like Nate Diaz said, I'm not surprised, I'm not surprised. I didn't believe in Purdue, Jack. I never believed in Purdue. I can't say I picked Fairleigh Dickinson to beat them, but I had them as the first 1 seed to go down. So to see them go down in the fashion the way they did, Fairleigh Dickinson is the shortest team in Division I basketball with an average height of 6'4". Purdue has the 7'4" player of the year, and they lost. And I'm watching the game, Jack, and they had nothing for Zach Edey. I mean, they were trying their absolute best. They had nothing. But what I knew would be the problem with Purdue just happened earlier. Their guards aren't good. Their guards played like crap. One dude had a career high in turnovers. They couldn't shoot, and they got to the end of the game. They were scared to shoot. The moment was too big for them. And that's how you see an upset. Fairleigh Dickinson had no pressure. It's always easy when you have no pressure on you. You can just play hard and just play with house money. So to see that upset happen, I think it's the greatest upset in NCAA tournament history, just off of it's the second time that a 16 seed beat a 1, but it's more of the fact that they're the shortest team in the nation and a team that wasn't even supposed to go to the tournament because Merrimack actually won the NEC, but because of rules, they aren't eligible to go to the tournament yet. And against all of that, they beat Purdue. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm with you. So basically, Shoe beat Purdue because Sacred Heart beat FD during the season. So basically, also justice for Shoe because Stanford's women's lost to Ole Miss. So justice for the Lady Pioneers.
That was a major upset too, man. I think they had me like 14 straight Sweet 16s to Stanford women. I mean, Tara Vanderveer is one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time. So to see them go down at Stanford, Jack, the madness is upon us. But let's keep it in Jersey, Jack. Princeton over Arizona. What did you feel during that upset?
I felt like the bigs for Arizona didn't dominate the way they should have. I think Princeton got hot early and then just stayed hot, and they made no adjustments in the second half. Good for them. Like that's a team now going to the Sweet 16,
which is amazing. And they dominated Missouri the next round. I mean, they absolutely dominated Missouri.
Missouri they're all about pressure, and I didn't see any. They didn't. Yeah. Princeton was in command the entire game. I didn't see any pressure from Missouri there. So we came up top there. Who's the better Tiger? And we found out. It's just like these games are crazy. The seedings are all over the place. And to go back to Fairleigh Dickinson for a sec, we have a little bit of a coaching carousel going on early. With Rick Pitino going to Iona, and that Iona
Rick Pitino going to St. John's.
Correct. He went to Iona last year, and now he's going to St. John's. Tobin Anderson just took that Iona job for FDU.
Not surprising.
That's great. This is his first year coaching Division I basketball.
That's all it takes. I mean, Shaheen Holloway, when he did his work at St. Peter's, next thing you know, he's a Seton Hall coach. So now he'll go to Iona. Iona's a perennial great team. I want people to know that Iona, I know this because Monmouth will play against Iona when they were in the MAC in basketball. While I was in college, Iona used to win every year. Monmouth's best years, they lost Iona in championship twice while I was there. Iona, and this is before Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino was there for a couple of years. Iona is just always good, really good basketball program. So I think Tobin Anderson is going to do great things there. I love to see guys elevate. When you have a run like that, you should be rewarded with a better opportunity and things like that. I love that for Tobin. Man, he's a great guy. He's a coach I'd run through a wall for just for how he cares about his players and how he talks. He's a talker, and we love talkers here.
1,000-mile-an-hour talker, but I love
Thousand mile. He does not breathe at all.
it. No, I
I've
think
cut
during
his
the press
audio. I know.
conference, yeah, during the press conference when he actually was listening to the question would be the only time he breathes.
Pretty much.
and
Saving breaths.
And he would cut off the conversation, and be like, "I can go all day." He's like Steve Rogers. I can do this all day. Let's go.
I could do this all day. But going back to Princeton, two Jersey schools, just Peacocks and the Tigers, just crashing everything. Princeton just did what they are, and they're not going to turn the ball over. They're going to run that Princeton motion offense like nobody else can. A lot of people have adopted it, but that's where it began. That's where it started. That's what the DNA is. And they're just going to dominate you. They're going to grind you to death. And I think that's what you saw against Arizona, man. That motion offense, they were just getting whatever they want. They stayed patient. They never panicked in the tight game because the game was back and forth. It was tight. And to come out on top against Arizona and then to dominate against Missouri just to show people it's not a fluke, it's amazing. And don't think that they can't beat Creighton in the Sweet 16, Jack. Do not think that. I think they can for sure beat Creighton. I just want to say that. But, Jack, the wildest finish. Furman, Virginia. Oh
my God.
My God. The game itself was crazy. Virginia's always getting upset, whatever. That pass, Jack, we got to talk.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
You
can't throw that pass.
Because here's my perspective of all this happening. So I was on my way to go watch more games with my buddy.
Yeah.
And I'm in the car, Westwood Radio. I haven't listened to radio broadcast in a while, but they do have to talk about everything, right?
Westwood won.
So let me try to do my best Westwood versus Virginia versus Furman. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
There's 6 seconds left in the clock. Diego Conan, he's in the corner. What is he doing? He's trapped. He's gonna go timeout. No, he throws it away. Like just absolutely bogus. Like bogus.
While you were yelling, I could hear nothing you were saying.
Exactly. Oh, you couldn't hear me?
I don't know why. Like while you were just yelling, it just went like mute, like it just went mute. But did you see the
basically what the call was.
Essentially, did you see what Kevin Harlan, them
yes.
in the booth live react to? Stan Van Gundy almost fell out of his seat. And Kevin Harlan just goes, "I cannot believe what I just saw." Bro,
dude,
that's so bad. You're up. You're up.
That's your senior too.
You're up 2. You get trapped in the corner and you have a timeout. Just call a timeout. He just threw it up, Jack. You can't do that.
No.
I'd be ready. No game comes down to one play because there's plenty of plays in the game in which Virginia could have put themselves in a position to not be there. They should have been up by multiple possessions or whatever. I get it. I still want to whoop his ass in the locker room after that. That is just horrible. Like, come on, bro. Yeah, fadeaway pass to half court from the corner. And it's just melee. And I love that Furman didn't panic. They didn't call timeout because you weren't going to get a better shot than they did. Because during all the commotion, ain't nobody guarding. Everybody's like, oh, my God, we should turn it over. Open 3, back at. I'm like, oh, man. I could not believe that. That was the wildest finish of the upsets. That Furman one was just insane, Jack.
No, yeah. I'm glad I had him because that's where I was freaking out too. Once I heard it happen, I was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna do this!" Upset City, and then the brackets just started to collapse a little bit, but I still got my team. It's fun talking about the upsets. It's what March is about.
Absolutely.
But we do have to pay our due diligence to the people that are still in it, in the sense of like the real looking champs, because Kansas is out. A lot of people have Kansas, but
I'm not surprised they lost, Jack. Yeah. Without people act like not having your head coach isn't important. Oh, it's important. In-game adjustments, that voice, that's who they're used to. Bill Self's one of the best college basketball coaches of all time. You don't think that matters that he's not there? Big reason why they lost.
Big. But now here's where we got the teams that are like, okay, who's really we're in the Sweet 16. Who's really going to make that push into the Final Four next weekend?
I think Texas is coming out the Midwest, and I know I am a Texas fan. Hook 'em
I'm with
horns,
you.
baby. I think we're
Go
coming
Horns.
out the Midwest. This game against Xavier is going to be electric, but I think we'll beat Xavier. And I just frankly do not fear Houston. I do not. There's nothing about Houston that makes me fear them. They are a good basketball team, but I think Texas will come out on top. So I think it'll be Texas Houston in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, Houston.
Texas moving on to the Final Four.
Houston gave me a shock. I thought Auburn was going to run away with it being up 10 at half.
Me
and
too.
then they score 50 in the half and only allow 23.
Yeah.
Damn.
They kicked their ass in the second half.
That's crazy. And Auburn's a team that has stuck with Alabama's, that have stuck with all those teams in the SEC and giving them problems, but it's always a second half letdown for them.
Oh yeah.
It's not a great thing for them, but it's not a great step, but they're always in it, right?
Yeah.
They're in it till they're not.
Yeah.
Man, and I can't even tell you who. I'm just laughing looking at my bracket. Alabama, I feel like, is the clear cut in that region, in the South region.
Mm-hmm.
They looked really good against Maryland. They looked really good against their Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and they've looked good all year. They faced adversity. We've talked about this, that the teams that face the most adversity throughout the season are ones that are going to come out, on top, because they've been through it all. They've been through the hostile crowds. Like when after all this stuff happened with Brandon Miller, and it was a true away game, and it was right after allegations came out, and everyone's booing him in the crowd, and I feel like any freshman would be like scared to do it, but he goes out and scores 41 points.
He's amazing.
So I feel that, and he goes from scoring 0 points to scoring 19 points in this one.
Yeah.
Javon Quinterly is disgusting.
Remember we talked about it before. I think he's going to be their unsung hero. If he's on, they're not beatable. They are not beatable. You can't beat them. If him, Brandon Miller are all on, they're not beatable. And I do think it's their tournament to lose. That's my pick to win it all. And I think that holds true. And they're going to end up matching up probably against Princeton, because I think Princeton's going to beat Creighton, honestly. Wow.
Creighton's good, man. Creighton's a very scary team. They're on, because they're Kalkbrenner he's a true 7-footer. I've been calling him soft all year, and I really have. And then watching on these past 2 tournament games, I'm like, all right, something switched in him. Ryan Nembhard is a really good point guard to have, good leader on the floor. And then they just got shooters, and they play fast, and that's what is super scary about them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to watch. But in the East region, it's now with Duke, Purdue, Memphis,
surprised to see Duke go down.
All over here. No Marquette. Yeah. I feel like Kansas State is a team that could really get to that Final Four area.
They got that small guard who's just phenomenal. I mean, he flat out dominated against Kentucky, and that's a big reason why Kentucky lost. The East is so wide open, Jack. I mean, you got 7 seed, 3 seed, a 9 seed, and a 4 seed. Tom Izzo's teams are always going to be ready to go. They're going to play defense. They're scrapping their best when they're underdogs. Who knows? It could be Tennessee. Everybody thought Tennessee was done when they lost Ziegler, their best player, and here they are. But FAU is nothing to sneeze at. But I think I agree with you, Jack. I think Kansas State are going to be the representatives of the East. I think Kansas State beats Michigan State and then beats Tennessee to go to the Final Four.
And then we got the West: Arkansas, UConn, Gonzaga, UCLA. That right there, I feel like, is the toughest one.
Yeah, it's going to be a bloodbath these next couple games.
Rick Pitino called UConn the most complete team he's faced all season, and a championship caliber team.
When they're on, they're one of the best teams in the country.
When they play their games, they're one of the best teams in the country. When they played their first half against Iona, they're not the best team in the country. Because with UConn, being from Connecticut, Sam, right?
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah. Hey, man, we got 2 championships in the past, since 2011?
Here we go. Here we
I'm
go.
not. Hey, I'm not like a Yankee fan. I'm not going to go list off what we have and go off. We had this, whatever. That's not me. That's not me. Um,
Yeah.
I will say that with UConn is a team that I've kept an eye on, being a secondary fan of theirs, and they have a lot of pieces. They have 2 7-footers that can play very well. Andre Jackson's one of the most athletic dudes I've ever seen play basketball. But
I love me some Sonogo.
Sonogo's great. Andre Jackson does this to me though, right? He'll play in the first half and he'll be very mechanical. He will not drive to the basket. He will shoot threes. He doesn't shoot threes well. He's not a good 3-point shooter, but he'll chuck because he's forcing things. He'll force. But then he gets in the second half. He'll get his steals. He'll get in transition, have his dunks, pass the ball well. I don't have an NBA comparison to him because he's one of a kind. It's weird. I've never seen something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very weird because he's very good athletically and defensively. He's a force. His game pisses me off when he doesn't play his game, and then when we get to his game, it's really good. And then they have really good shooters on the wing. Hawkins is really good. He's an NBA talent kind of a guy. So we'll see. We'll see with UConn. But Arkansas, obviously, just upsetting Kansas. Gonzaga just had a really good game against TCU. And UCLA, full of veterans, full of guys that have been here before. Amari Bailey. They have a lot of good pieces. So that out of there is crazy. I have UCLA winning that area. I don't know, though. I don't have them beating Texas afterwards.
I'm not mad at that.
I have 3 of my 4. I don't like. I like that part. I have 3 of my 4 Final Four. That's
good
pretty good.
You gotta take, man. This is everybody's bracket is busted, so you gotta take what you can get. Not mad at the UCLA pick at all. I think they're a really good team. I got UConn. I think it, and I actually have Gonzaga beating UCLA and then folding like Gonzaga usually does against UConn. I think UConn will match up very well. I think UConn matches up very well with Gonzaga. They have bodies to throw at Drew Timme. He won't be able to just dominate the paint. And so, in that respect, I think UConn is going to come out of the West.
Got a lot to look forward to next weekend. And you still say Alabama's going all the way.
Alabama's going to win it all. Best team, they're loaded with players, a good mixture of experience with just talent, and their coach is awesome. And just flat out, what they've been through with the whole Brandon Miller situation, man, nothing phases them. They're battle tested. I don't think they'll be afraid of the big moment at all.
So next time we have our episode next week, we'll have a Final Four, and we'll talk more, break that down more.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Keep it locked. The madness is upon us, but Jack, it's time for our favorite part of the show. Hit it.
Hey, yo, what the?
I'll let you go first, Jackery. What you got for us?
We talked about it a little earlier with coaching signings. Pitino going to St. John's, which led to Tobin Anderson going to Iona. One of the biggest ones is Ed Cooley going to Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's got to be money.
I'm shocked at that. Oh, it's definitely money. That's
got to
be
be money.
Got him away from Providence for sure. Got to be.
It's got to be money. I thought he was building something really great over there. I thought that was an awesome rivalry between him and Hurley at UConn. I guess that won't change since he's only going to Georgetown. They have to play each other again in their conference. It's just I feel like that was kind of like a let's build something and then I'm going to leave when I get the paycheck kind of a thing. That's where I felt it is.
I mean, that's what most coaches do till they get to the place. You know, that's pretty much what they do.
Yeah, and that to me is it's the fact of life, and that's a big AO as it is. Follow the money.
You got to always follow the money.
You got to follow the money.
The coaches are in it for the money. They tried to make it seem like it was only the players, but ain't nobody more greedy than these coaches. So for sure, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm gonna tell you why. Indianapolis Colts. They didn't trade up for the number 1 spot. The Panthers did. There's no confirmed reports that they tried or what they offered, but I'm sure they did try. Indianapolis Colts are sitting 4th in the draft. The Panthers have the 1 pick. The Texans have the 2 pick. The Cardinals have the 3rd pick, and a lot of speculation is they'll be the next people to trade back because, again, they're not going to get a quarterback. Coach, that means likely that 3 quarterbacks will go off the board before the Colts will need a quarterback. So the Colts are basically saying they're fine taking the 4th best quarterback in the draft instead of putting an offer in for Lamar Jackson. Why?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Why? Now I can get why some teams haven't put an offer in for Lamar Jackson, because the thing is, Jack, because it's non-exclusive, if they put an offer in, the Ravens have 5 days to match it. In those 5 days, whatever money you offer Lamar, it freezes. You can't offer that to any other free agents. That's why everybody was like, "Where's everybody at?" That's a big actual hangup outside of the clear collusion that's going on. And we'll get to that in a minute, because Lamar is expected to release an interview, hopefully clearing up all of these rumors that he's asking for a fully guaranteed contract, which I just know is not true. The Colts are basically saying we're okay with the 4th best quarterback, rather than going all in and trying to get Lamar Jackson. I'm surprised at that, because Jim Irsay is a big risk taker. I don't understand that thinking. I think in the position that they're at, you got to go for it. Franchise quarterbacks aren't just available. You have to go for it. So I'm just shocked at that. But that's my AO, Jack. And that transitions us right into NFL, the free agent frenzy, trades, everything happening. Jack, we had movement. Cowboys making some very smart moves, I must say. They get Brandon Cooks for a 5th and a 6th. They go get Stephon Gilmore for a 5th. Great value, great contracts, and dare I say, pretty damn good players. What did you think, Jack?
Yeah, I don't want to play the Cowboys.
Dak's still their quarterback, so you'll be okay.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks was a very good pickup for them. I thought he would have gone somewhere else.
Yeah, Ravens still haven't got a quarterback. Still haven't got a receiver.
What are they doing?
They've done nothing.
They don't have anything. They have nothing going on.
Great defense. Have added no weapons.
Yeah, have done absolutely nothing. I don't know what they're sitting around for. The draft.
I guess, but you need more than one. So
I know it's crazy. I think this whole free agency has been nuts. If you're a fantasy football fan and you're a casual, you're gonna be like, "Oh, wasn't this running back on this team last year? Wait, wasn't this running back on this team last year?" They're gonna say that to like 26 of the 30 teams out there. Like, it's insane. They've been all over the place.
Of how many musical chairs.
It really has. Like Miles Sanders going to the Panthers. Panthers have been making moves like crazy and still have the number 1 pick. Now they have Miles Sanders. They got Adam Thielen, which I thought that was crazy.
I think Adam Thielen is personally washed. I just don't think he's really that good anymore. I think he's clearly not that good anymore.
Say that to me personally. Say that to his face.
I think the Vikings regret letting Stephon Diggs go and keeping him, because you could have Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson, which would have been a much better pairing. But they wanted Adam Thielen to be the one, which is why Stephon said he left, because he was tired of being number 2 to Adam Thielen, the guy he's clearly better than. And Adam Thielen, out next to Justin Jefferson, who's getting double and triple coverage all the time, he's not really producing like he used to. He's a solid route runner, solid veteran wide receiver, but that don't move the deal for me. You still lost DJ Moore. I still need to see more from the Panthers. They've had some like Von Bell. That's cute. Von Bell is cute. The Bradley Bozeman pickup. He's a very solid center. Miles Sanders, very solid running back. Hayden Hurst, very solid tight end. Gonna have a rookie quarterback. So, I think they're doing a decent job, but I need to see more. I think they'll likely have to get a receiver at some point in the draft as well. Hopefully hit on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of free agency signings, and I'm just going down the list here, the tracker, and there's
talk about Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown was offered a huge contract from the Chiefs last year, turned it down, got greedy. There's 2 guys who've done this in recent times. Orlando Brown was offered, he would have been the highest paid tackle in the NFL. And now he ends up going to the Bengals on 4 years, $64 million, which again is solid money, but it's not the money he could have gotten. He would have had more for the Chiefs last year, but he got a little greedy, and now he's having less money on still a good team. So I hate to see that. That's why everybody talks about guys betting on themselves. It doesn't always work out well. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Also, James Bradbury, Eagles offered him a multi-year deal, Jack. He turned it down. He thought the market would be in his favor. Not James Bradbury, apologies. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson turned down a multi-year deal. And that's why the Eagles were going to let Darius Slay go. You saw they were going to release him. But Chauncey Gardner-Johnson turned down the deal. And he thought he could get more elsewhere. And then he didn't realize that he's seen as kind of you don't know. He's a wild card. You know, he gets into fights and arguments everywhere he goes and stuff like that. He's kind of seen as a risk, and he didn't realize that. See, his agent didn't get a real good beat on the market. So now he ends up going to the Lions on a 1 year, up to $8 million prove-it deal when he could have had a multi-year deal with the Eagles. So that's just two instances, Jack, of guys who are talented betting on themselves and kind of getting stung a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of, and now he's having to he went from a multi-year deal to a 1 year deal.
Prove it
The
deal.
Lions, like it's a lot of these guys are betting on themselves.
Yeah,
a
that
lot
always
of
work.
Agents are getting bold, I guess. That must be the thing, is agents are like, you know what, you can do better. You can do better here. The money's out there.
Absolutely.
You can do better.
Yeah, and then they don't do better. It's like,
Yeah, and then
sorry.
you're like, what's going on? Oh no.
Lost you a few $1 million, but Jack, I want to NFL talking about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
Okay.
I know it's a lot of still speculation. Oh, the Packers they want a first round pick. They're not going to get a first round pick for guys playing year to year. They can stop that. What I think it will be is maybe a third and a second, and it will be contingent upon how many games he plays. If he gets us to the playoffs or something like that, it could be upgraded to a second or maybe upgraded to a first, even though I wouldn't give that. The deal is going to get done. Both sides are ready. It's just a game of chicken right now. I'm very excited as a New York Jets fan, Jack. I am very excited. People can talk about how this doesn't make Aaron Rodgers not a top 5 quarterback in the AFC. Yes, he is. He has 2 MVPs in the last 3 years. I don't want to hear any of that foolishness. He's going to make us legit contenders. And I'm not saying we'll win a Super Bowl or anything like that, Jack, but we'll be able to beat anybody with our defense and with a quarterback like him, Allen Lazard now, and Garrett Wilson, and Elijah Moore in the slot, with Breece Hall back at running back and Mekhi Becton back at left tackle, Vera Tucker back at guard. I think we'll be ready to go, and we'll be ready to compete against any and everyone. I'm excited.
Yeah, you got your team, man. The Jets.
That's
something else. That's another good thing in New Jersey. It's
Absolutely.
East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Absolutely.
You got the Jets playing there. Maybe. Here's the thing. A lot of team, and I saw this out yesterday with or a couple days ago with Jalen Ramsey, that now he's gonna get more money just from being in Miami because of the no taxes.
State income tax. Oh yeah.
What's with New York, man, and New Jersey? Come on. You're going to kill Aaron Rodgers' paycheck, and he's going to go look at it and be like, where the hell's my money? Where's my money?
He's made enough money, man. It ain't about the money for him no more. He's sorry.
It's all about winning.
You play quarterback in the NFL this long, you've been paid a whole lot of money, Jack. He's coming to New York with a chip on his shoulder. And that's the best Rodgers. Last time I saw him with a chip on his shoulder, he won 2 MVPs. And he won those 2 MVPs with the same offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's coming.
I like pissed off Aaron Rodgers the best.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all don't want me anymore. Oh, I don't move the needle. I'm this. Okay. All right.
You still mad about the picks? Come on now.
F them picks. Jack, it's time. Hit it.
It's time for Hit the Showers on the Locker Room Podcast.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get a little wet and hit the showers. I want to hit the showers and say this. I watched the Ole Miss head coach for the women's basketball team. And she's a very religious Black woman, very talented young Black ascending head coach. To go in there and beat Tara Vanderveer at Stanford was amazing to see. And what's more amazing was the moment of her dapping up her best player and hugging her after, crying. It's what March is all about. And it's what the women's game is all about too, and just what great basketball is all about. So Ma, before I hit the showers, I just want to give a shout out to the women's basketball. They're putting out such a great product on ESPN. And I think it's phenomenal. I think we're in for an excellent Sweet 16 for them and an excellent Final Four for them. UConn's nothing to sneeze at. South Carolina dominant. And to see Dawn Staley wear the jersey from a player for Cheyney State, the only historically Black college to make a Final Four in the women's ever. And it was coached by the legendary C. Vivian Stringer. So to see Coach Dawn Staley always paying it forward and wearing that jersey to represent for Coach Vivian Stringer's team, that was historic. It's great to see. I love where the women's game is. It's in a great place right now. Great players like Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and all those. But man, I love what I'm seeing. And I just want to give them their flowers for what they're doing and growing the women's game.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to say the same thing. I think we're in for a fun women's tournament. You hit it head on the nail with the Ole Miss coach. I think she's great. That was an emotional post-game interview.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you get to see a lot of emotions with their coach, and you get to see relationships that they've built, the hard work that has paid off to get to this moment. And I think that's the part that's awesome, is that we don't get to see all these teams all the time. Ole Miss we got to see because they almost beat South Carolina.
Yep.
And then they go out and beat Stanford. Like I said earlier, justice for Sacred Heart there. And I think that's, again, we've been talking about women's basketball for 3 or 4 straight shows. I think that says a lot of where the game is going to and the coverage that we're getting. Norfolk State coach said we got to play on ESPN1.
Yeah.
That's bigger. That's bigger than people realize. And I guess bigger than we get to realize sometimes when we work in television and radio, is that this means everything to some people, that they get the exposure. So I'm happy that the women's game is getting a little more exposure. It should continue to keep growing. The talent is unbelievable, and it's just getting better and better. I think looking at like just the media that we have around the high school game is also helpful too. So to see that grow is great.
Absolutely. We're all about pushing the game forward. Dawn Staley, keep doing what you're doing. And she talked about South Carolina finally got their second opportunity to be on ABC, not just to be on ESPN, but to be on ABC. Now she wants more of it. That's why I love Dawn. She's never satisfied. She wants more for her game and for her sport. Kudos.
Yeah, she has a better way of doing it than I've seen it most in the past. Like
very tastefully done.
Yes, there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it.
Yeah, she does it the right way, but she doesn't bull. She doesn't mess around. She's still giving it to you real, but she's doing it in a way that's digestible, and I think that's great in the long term.
Absolutely.
That's the episode, ladies and gentlemen. Follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, MySpace, whatever. Hit us up on socials. Listen, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. Jack Sullivan, Sam Pierce, Locker Room.